Talk. Talk. Talk to me Tuesday.
Welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday on a Tuesday. I'm your host, Madi B, and I have my amazing partner here on the show, a special guest, attorney Darren Miller. Welcome.
Hey, Madi. How you guys doing?
Yes, I see you're all ready, which is what the topic we're going to talk about today. So today is going to be a bittersweet topic. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening in the world right now, which is COVID-19. We're going to get a little bit into that, but then at the same time, we're going to talk about, as an entrepreneur, what are the things that you're experiencing, some of those things that are scary as a business owner, even those of you guys that are watching that are employees that may be just terrified. And then let's not forget Easter's around the corner, so we're going to touch a little bit about Easter at the end of the show because we don't want to kind of forget an important holiday that we've always recognized and celebrated. And just because of what we're going through right now, we're going to have to probably table this one, and it's going to be a little bit different than normal. So kind of talking about COVID-19. So this is something we are all experiencing. We kind of separated our chairs a little bit more for social distancing. You are wearing your mask. We have the hand sanitizer here just to make sure as you think of it, sanitize your hands, go wash your hands, make sure that you guys are healthy. So COVID-19 is something that is worldwide right now. And I'll have you give a little take, Mr. Miller, but globally we have about 1.3 cases.
Wow. And
deaths we have 76,000. I'm rounding that up or down just for the simplicity of the show. Nationwide, and this is U.S., we have 368,000 cases and deaths 11,000. And in the state of Texas, which is where we reside, we are in Houston, Texas, we have 7,200 cases and there's 140 deaths.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers and the impact is just astounding to me that things have gotten as bad as they are, and the reality is that, as we're going to discuss, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, and a lot of the news realms and media are saying that this week would be projected one of the worst weeks to where it's peaking. We've kind of been hearing that a little bit too often. So we don't know, is this going to be really the worst week or next week? But we kind of want to practice, starting with you guys that are viewing right now and starting with us, is staying home. So what they said is stay home, people. If you can, go bulk up on your essentials, which is your groceries, if you are able. But staying at home, washing your hands, and don't touch your face.
Yeah, guys, I mean, this is serious. I mean, you see the effect it's had not only locally, not only throughout the state, throughout the country. This is the entire world that's being affected by this. And you've got to do the basics. Staying at home, washing your hands, keeping clean. I mean, this is the only way that we're going to stem the tide of this thing in the fastest fashion.
Yeah, and it's very amazing to me, like states like New York, which have so many people, a lot of the infrastructures are going upwards. Those cases are skyrocket, but because there's so many people in a very small space. If you guys are trying to travel or anything, I would just strongly suggest trying to stay put. Certain cities and certain states are mandating up to April 30th to stay at home. Dallas, for instance, went all the way to mid-May. This could be a little bit more prolonged. Right now we're just seeing April 30th.
Yeah, look, guys, we're going to be dealing with this for a while. The problem that places like New York have is because they're so populous. Both in New York, if you look at New York, you look at the West Coast in Los Angeles and California, because, again, they've got so many people using, for example, public transportation. You have one person on that train who's sick, who's not feeling well. It could potentially go to 10 or 15 people, which then can potentially send it to 100 people. And that's why you have these numbers just going up and up and up. And that's why it's just so important. You stay home, you stay away, you take some of these safety precautions as much as possible until we kind of stem the tide of this thing.
Yeah, and I want to kind of talk about those safety precautions. You have the official mask, and I have one of those as well, which is the N95. Okay, it does have a little filter on there. A lot of you guys are getting masks. There is, certain masks that are more disposable, so you have to kind of, if it doesn't have a filter, you have to keep changing it. You can't just keep it because then it just kind of doesn't do its job. And same with gloves. I've seen a lot, especially on the media and on social media, that people are using their gloves, but they're not using them correct. Like, they're still eating their food, they're still sticking it in their mouth, and the point of the gloves is to be limited and exchanging it the quicker you can. So just being mindful. I know we're not used to those habits of putting something over your mouth or putting something in your hand, but just being mindful of how you could still transport it. If you're touching something with the gloves, try not to eat food or anything like that, or even touching food if you're going grocery shopping.
Yeah, and again, I was very fortunate myself to get some of these types, these masks here. You probably won't be able to get these for a good while, but any type of mask, any type of protective apparatus that you have, I've seen the Surgeon General and if you Google it and take a look at what he's able to do with a towel, you get a towel and you can get a couple of pieces of elastic, and you can make yourself a homemade mask. If you can't find them, there are still things you can certainly do to protect yourself and protect your family.
Yes, and I know there's a lot of people donating masks too that have material. So I'd advise, if you guys have any extra material that want to donate, there are people that are making masks. And if you're making masks, I also ask if you guys can put something in the comment section below. So those that are trying to acquire masks, that they have little means, because I know right now H-E-B, Walgreens, Walmart, they're sold out of the masks and the gloves. So we got to help each other out in our community, and that is one way that we could try to stay safe. A lot of people don't know they have the symptoms, and they are positive, COVID-19 positive. So even if I have someone on the show today that either is positive or has gone through it, I would love for you guys to comment on the show so we can kind of hear, some of the symptoms that you experience and some of your testimony of what you went through. We also want to open up those lines of communication for any of those business owners on the business side. You are an entrepreneur, you are a businessman, so we're going to kind of speak a little bit about that. Right. But also, if you guys are employees and have questions on that, on the employee side, we want you guys to have this open line of communication. If we can answer it, if not, we'll try to give you guys sites that you guys can visit to where it could be a little bit more user-friendly. So let's just start off with Attorney Darren Miller. So you guys know you are the founder here of D. Miller & Associates. Tell our guests that haven't met you before a little bit about yourself and how many businesses do you have?
Okay, well, I've been practicing law for 20 years. We've got, of course, the law practice. We've got the intake company, the the intake service with regards to DMA advocates that acquires cases for other attorneys. We have our real estate interests that we have, and we're also opening a social media marketing company here as soon as we get through this process, and we will be getting through this COVID deal. Yeah,
I know a lot of people are probably seeking this show by getting some positive feedback from yourself on how to remain positive in the entrepreneur world or just being a business owner. There's a lot of people right now, besides currently in Houston, the restaurant world, but some cities and states, you don't even have that. So you do have different services that are offered that right now are kind of going away. So let's talk about what made you open, let's specifically talk about the law firm, but you also have other entities of businesses and services. So what made you open your companies?
I saw there was some specific needs out there that weren't properly being met, or that were underrepresented, or quite frankly, I saw the way in which some people were doing business, and I thought we could do things more efficiently and provide better services. And so because of that, we've opened up certain things, and I think it's kind of starting to work.
And how has that worked for you? I mean, you see what the industry offers, and you say, I could do it too. Has it been challenging, or has it been a piece of cake?
No, it's never a piece of cake. It's never as easy as you think it is. much like what we're going through with this whole corona situation, it's something you gotta stick with it. You're going to be tested as an entrepreneur, and you just have to figure out how to get through certain challenges and make the best of whatever those circumstances are.
Yeah, and this is part of the roller coaster ride that you guys do experience. So sometimes people need to hear good and see good to kind of put that good into the environment in the space. So what are some positive thoughts that keep you going during difficult times, especially like this, COVID-19?
Look, we're Americans. This is the best country to live in the world. We are going to get through this. This is not the first time we've been challenged, and will not be the last. Again, we have to stick together, and we have to prepare, and if we all help and support each other, we're going to get through this. And quite frankly, if you do it the right way, you can prepare yourself for what's coming next and for the new upcoming challenges. So that's what I want people to kind of be mindful of, that this process, it's terrible, it's awful, people are suffering, people are dying, okay? But you have to keep moving forward, you have to be ready and prepare yourself for the future.
Yeah, and I know a lot of us didn't see this one coming, and I know you try to prepare for the little bumps in the roads and the challenges, but I think this is one of a really large challenge. We've been already, staying at home for almost 2 months, or about to be 2 months? Has it been
2 months? No.
March and then all of April, so we're at the beginning of April.
Yeah.
Going to be.
Well, I think we're less than 30 days, actually.
Less than 30 days, going to be all the way to April 30th.
Yeah.
So that's something to plan ahead, and that's something, a lot of people didn't foresee this coming.
Well, again, and I have to kind of question that, because again, if you're watching to see what's going on throughout the world, this is not a surprise. This happened overseas, and we saw how it spread, and unfortunately, I don't think as a country we did enough to address these issues and problems before they came. We knew this was coming. We saw what was going on in China. We saw what was going on in Europe. And quite frankly, we made some bad decisions. If you kind of look, if you look even in when this was going on, when people were getting sick and dying here in the United States, look at Florida. Florida, they're enjoying spring break. And they didn't even shut the state down. There's people right there on the beach who were sick, didn't even know it, coming in from New York and from the West Coast or from wherever, and they're sitting there infecting people on the beach. The people in charge knew what was going on, and they said, no, the economic dollars are too important in places like Florida, in places like Mardi Gras. And they said, how much money are we going to make if we do this? How much money if we lose if we shut it down? We're not shutting it down. And because of that, more people got sick and more people are dying. That's why we have to make better decisions. And that's why we're now forced to shut everything down economically, because we're thinking very short term instead of thinking about the long term effects of making decisions like that.
So talk to me as a business owner, how difficult making that decision is, because I know you're saying, okay, Mardi Gras and certain, events, they could have made the decision, but as a business owner, you're thinking, do I lose money? Do I not lose money? And even after certain things were being said in the world, there's still companies, dental, there's nail places still up and going because they don't want to lose money. So how difficult is that decision looking at a bigger picture?
Marty, it's the most simple decision in the world. Okay? We have 84 employees here at the firm. If we continue to conduct business as normal, people are going to get sick here, and some of their family members might die. Over what? Over money? Are you kidding me? That's not even a choice to make. Of course, as soon as we found out what was going on, what the situation was, and how serious it was in terms of coming in from the West Coast and from the East Coast, and it was approaching Texas and getting worse. Of course, we shut down. We can't. I'm not going to take the chance of getting even one of my team sick in order to make another dollar. Why? Because God has always blessed us with business, and new cases and the ability to make money. But if I lose a receptionist or one of my intake staff or one of my attorneys because they die, what kind of man would I be? That's ridiculous. Right. It's not a hard choice at all.
Right. And I love that kind of hearing how you kind of took it upon yourself, as soon as you heard something, kind of shutting it down. What are some challenges that you have faced in your business due to the COVID-19?
Well, again, look, I'm not saying, Marty, it's an easy decision to shut down your practice. As I mentioned, God has really blessed us, and business was flowing and going. And when you interrupt that, of course, gosh, you're losing cases, and you're losing money, and you're losing business. But one of the challenges that we had, we had to figure out. First, I knew we were going to shut down. We're shutting down. Get these people out of here as quickly as possible. So then the next thing is, okay, how can we continue to stay in business? And so then we have to. Luckily, I've got a fantastic management team, and we're very task-oriented with regards to how are we going to keep everybody working, how are we going to keep them motivated, how are we going to keep those paychecks going to our staff who needs to continue to pay their rent, who needs to continue to pay for their kids' welfare. And so very quickly what we did was, okay, how can we figure out how to work remotely? And so we set everybody up remotely, even before Texas and the governor and the mayor said, okay, we're shutting down. We had plans in place to make sure that everyone had access to work from other locations, so that they weren't going to be with other staff and risk the spread of infection. For those staff members that didn't have resources, then we helped them out. We got computers for them and got different services for them, or even I just okayed with my office manager for some people to kind of use Skype for our intake services who don't have mobile phones that are reliable. So we got some new Skype numbers for them. Again, we want to make sure how can we just kind of keep business rolling and keep those paychecks rolling so that kind of everyone's okay during this awful situation.
And thank goodness, technology has helped out as well. You're able to have meetings via video. We're able to do this live cast and kind of speak to you guys as well. Now, you do know a lot of attorneys in the field that do the same service as you do. Even similar service industry as attorneys, maybe like engineers, accountants, kind of very similar. So what have you experienced or heard in the industry? Like, are they still up and running, or they haven't had the ability to keep their business afloat?
Again, unfortunately, most people just kind of think about what's going on in the short term. And they're thinking more so, okay, where's that next check coming from? And what am I going to do next week? And things of that nature. And so, unfortunately, this hit a lot of people off guard. And they weren't prepared. They didn't have the resources and the equipment ready to go remotely. And they're trying to pick things up and do things kind of after all this mess and mayhem had started. And that's absolutely the wrong thing. You've got to plan and prepare ahead of time for those worst case scenarios. And so many of them right now are kind of struggling to okay, can we borrow some things for you? What can we do here? What kind of advice can you discuss with us? And so, again, you got to be prepared as a business owner for situations like this. Yeah,
that's good advice, staying prepared. For those of you guys that may have not been prepared, we're going to talk a little bit of some options and some things that may help a little bit the situation. But tell us or explain to us a little bit what was going through your mind whenever you heard working from home. Your business is very hands-on. We're 24/7. There's a lot of people that work at all times. But having to go from home, did it scare you? Was it kind of like, oh my gosh, how are we going to be able to do this? What were your thoughts?
I was very scared because, again, you have to keep in mind, Marty, we have a fairly systematic and organized machine that is fairly efficient as it stands right there. So anytime you're talking about changing the efficiency or the way in which you're doing business to, okay, everyone go home and let me cross my fingers and hope that everyone's working, that was unnerving for me. Luckily, again, my management staff had kind of a team, a plan in place with regards to, okay, this is how we can make sure that certain things are going on and that the cases are moving and clients are being informed as to what's going on with regards to their treatment and care and doctors and all those types of things. Probably one of the most important things, especially I would talk to other business owners about, is the leveraging of technology. It's amazing to me what is available out there to make sure that your staff has the right resources to get working. But then also, there's also so many different things that you can do as a business owner to make sure that everyone is out there being productive, making those phone calls, contacting those clients, making sure things are moving. And if you leverage the right technology, you can make sure that your business moves forward as much as it can. It's going to be rocky.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be interruption. In a situation like this, that's the nature of the beast. But are you still making sure that the business is moving? And using technology, you can make sure that that's still current.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk here in a little bit. We do have some comments from some of you guys that are watching. So we do have Federico saying hello to us. He's one of our Spanish speakers on our Spanish show.
Federico.
So hello, Federico.
Hola.
We do have Ramesh on the line saying proud of what we have done and what we are doing for our team.
Hey, Ramesh.
Yes,
how are
so
you,
good to hear from you, Ramesh. And then we have Chriselle saying thank you guys for all that you do. We need more business owners like you and Ramesh.
Oh, thank you.
So sweet. So kind of going back to technology, do you have any advice for those that are kind of right now experiencing what you did, a little bit scared of working from home? Oh my gosh, I don't have the technology, but they're having, their hands are tied. So what type of suggestion you have for them, or type of procedures that they can incorporate that you've done and kind of tried out?
Again, it's all about doing your research. Doing your research to see what is out there, what's available. How can I kind of duplicate what's going on in the office from other locations? I mean, look, this is the way of the world with regards to technology. You have to have access to your cases, your information, your files, at least as far as our business is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And there's ways to kind of put that in the cloud, whereas, okay, I'd love to do it here in the office, but these conditions suggest that that's just not possible. So then how can I make sure I can do that in the field while someone's sitting at home in their backyard? Can they still have access to this file? Can they still contact this client? Can they still make sure this appointment has been set? And if you, again, have the right things in place, and making sure you're keeping up to date with regards to what's the best and the best technology out there, you can try and kind of stay ahead of the curve.
Right. I think this is great because there's always going to be life-changing events, things that we do foresee or don't foresee. For instance, there's hurricanes, natural disasters, stuff like that. It's kind of similar in what we're experiencing now, into where you may just be wiped out, to where you don't have your office, or you cannot get to the office. So things like that we are experiencing a little bit more often. I don't know if you kind of feel the same way.
Absolutely, Marty. I mean, again, look, this is Texas, and as you just mentioned, floods, hurricanes, natural disasters. Your job as a business owner is not just taking care of the day-to-day business. That you're supposed to do that. What happens in the worst case scenarios? When those worst case scenarios hit, what are you going to do? That's what you need to prepare for and plan for. And so, again, you got to be ready. If you're going to take on that challenge of owning a business and doing things that, quite frankly, most other people can't, you've got to think 2 steps ahead.
Yeah, you have to think of a bigger picture for sure. Now, we did speak about you having multiple businesses. Now, were they all handled differently in the decision making for the outbreak? Or did each business have its similar procedure?
Every business is handled differently. Our real estate interests and issues, again, we've got to be more understanding with regards to people that can't pay rent the way that they typically would. Our injury clients, they're still hurt. They're going to need care. And so when some of those clinics are shut down and they can't do what they're supposed to do, they still need to get care. So we have to figure out those particular issues. With regards to our intake company, again, it's a situation where those people there's still certain statute of limitations out there. So we still have to get those cases signed up and get those over to our attorneys who are ready to get those things moving, getting them on file and get things going. So each particular one, you have to kind of set up that game plan and that protocol for each separate business separately.
Yeah, I love it. It's almost like you have to have an emergency plan of action just in case you already are ready to go, hit the green light, and just keep it moving on the procedure. Now, go ahead.
You can't be caught with your pants down. I mean, you just can't. You have to be ready for these things. That's what being an owner is all about. Be ready so your team is prepared to make things happen.
Yes, it definitely sounds like you have done that as a business owner. Now, for you guys, for D. Miller and Associates, how has this affected day-to-day tasks?
It's been a challenge. It has been a challenge. It's very difficult, when you're used to coming in, 4 days a week and seeing those smiling faces of the receptionists and interacting with the team. It's difficult to go remotely and then talk to people over the phone and through Skype and through Zoom. It's a difficult transition. But again, as it stands right now, this is the new normal. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be this way for a while. Okay, if we're going to flatten the curve, if we're going to make a dent in what's going on, it's not about when does the governor say we can get back into the office. It's about what is the safest time that the doctors and the professionals, what are they telling us? What's the data that they're telling us? Because again, you have to keep in mind, some of our politicians, and God love them, mm-hmm. They're more interested in the economy. They're more interested to make sure that business is moving. And sometimes those issues do not coincide with the best interests of you and I as citizens. Mm-hmm. So again, you've got to get all the information and make a decision as to what's best for you. If the governor tells me next week, okay guys, come on back, you're good to go, I'm telling my people, you stay your butts at home mm-hmm. until we get information from the Surgeon General and the other medical professionals that we trust that it is safe for us to go back to work. We are not stepping back into this office, and I don't care if it takes 6 months mm-hmm. until it's safe for us to get home. Because let me tell you something. Marty, you go home and you get your mother sick because I forced you to come work.
Right.
What is that? We're going to expose her to maybe getting sick, maybe dying because you need a damn paycheck? Get out of here. That is not how we're going to do business. Mm-hmm. And as business owners, as much as it's terrible, and this hurts, this financially hurts for all of us to take this type of position.
Right.
But you know what? We can always make more money. If something happens to you or your mother, they're never coming back.
Right.
And that's what the priority is, at least for our firm and yes. our companies.
And I love to hear that. And I do want to take a moment to thank all those medical professionals that you just kind of mentioned, doctors, nurses, even healthcare professions that are not in the ER, that are stepping up to go to the ER right now. There's a lot of step-ups, and there's a lot of individuals that are just, doing a lot for our community, and so that is very commended for our community, for our state, and for our nation as well. So I want to take a short minute to say thank you to all those individuals.
Let me add something to that, Marty. That's a great point, and this is off script, if you will. But one of the things I think we should do, and Giselle and I were talking about this earlier, I think that we need to, like for Memorial City Hospital down here or whatnot, we need to put something together. Maybe send them lunch to some of these guys taking care of our COVID patients, mm-hmm. and do something for them just to say thank you for what they've done. Because those healthcare professionals, not only they're putting in their time, energy, but they're curing people, but they're risking their own lives to make things happen. And many of them are risking their lives and because they don't even have all the right and the proper equipment. So again, for those types of sacrifices, the least we can do is say thank you and send them lunch or give them something to show our encouragement.
Yeah, to show our support, and I definitely agree with that. There is a lot of doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals that are not able to go back to their families just because they are exposed to some degree. Yeah. And like you mentioned, it's not worth exposing another family member and potentially getting them sick. Right. So they are not even seeing family members, wives, kids, etc. So right. It is a tough time even for them. So there are a lot of businesses and go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Marty. And again, I'm just totally off script again, but what that would do from our perspective, it shows the support that we have with regards to our medical professionals, as we just talked about. And then again, if we were to order something from XYZ restaurant, again, these restaurants are suffering. They're dying. I mean, my favorite restaurant down the street, I don't know if they're going to be in business a few months from now because they can't. They don't have business. So anything we can do to kind of help them and help these doctors and medical professionals, I want to try and do something to help.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I know that is something personally I want to do, and I've been kind of doing is supporting local businesses. That's before this COVID-19 happened, but now even more so supporting. If you have the ways and the means, which we're going to talk about those people that just don't right now, and able to support those that are just down, to pick them up just a little bit, it definitely helps. That was actually going to be my next question. There's a lot of businesses and companies that do not have the option to work from home. There's restaurants, you can't work from home, hairdressers, nail techs, different services, even build outs of homes and stuff like that. You're exposing yourself. They can't work from home. Yeah. Which is more labor intensive, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I'm sure you know a few of them too. Yeah. You just mentioned your favorite restaurants, but even friends that are entrepreneurs. So what are some challenges that they may be facing right now?
Look, there's no easy answer for that question, Marty, because I know, again, if I'm a restaurateur and I've got that mortgage to pay, I've got bills to pay, I've got mouths to feed at home. And so, again, if you're in that business, I don't know what you're going to do with regards to other than kind of waiting it out and hoping that business starts to pick up. Same with if you're in a hair salon place and you're used to your business is booming and things are going and you have all these people coming in. But you can't take the risk of right now of exposing yourself. You just can't. Because you bring that thing home and you expose it to your family, that's a whole nother set of nightmare issues and problems that you don't want to have.
Right.
And it's not worth potentially risking death on your family for another dollar. So again, for those entrepreneurs, what I tell them is, look, guys, you got to figure it out. And when I say that, I'm not trying to be callous, but there are other opportunities that you can do to try and make ends meet for the time being. Food delivery stuff. I know there's other intake services out there that you can work from home. There's just different ways. Again, it's not going to be the kind of money that you probably want, not going to be the ideal thing. Mm-hmm. But right now, in times of need, in time when it's a challenge, hey, what else can I do that is safe, that's going to provide me some income so I can kind of keep the wheels on this car while I figure all this mess out.
Yeah, we do have two extremes. We have those companies that are essential, that can work from home. There are still, I wouldn't say normal, but close to normal. Then we have the other extreme that they can't do anything. They can't work remote. There's gyms also, entrepreneurs that have gyms. Those are things that you are actually coming in contact with people. Manicure, you're touching hands. Those are right now very, very high risk. You can't even practice social distancing because your profession is not to be social distance. You have to be close to the person. Yeah. So another big question that we have is letting go of staff. Small businesses have made the decision of letting go of their staff and them having to receive unemployment. Yeah. Now, as a business owner, and I don't know if you have experienced this because all your members are working from home, but does that affect the business to make the right decision for letting them go and get unemployment, but then at the back end, do I get affected on unemployment?
Well, yeah, you would get affected, look, that's a sticky wicket. That's a very sticky wicket. I talked to another attorney friend of mine today who basically said, look, Darren, I've had to let go 30% of my staff because business is essentially stopped. I understand that, and I totally get it. Again, as a business owner, when you start talking about paying unemployment, I mean those costs and expenses. If everyone wants to go get unemployment, your costs and expenses go up, especially at a time when the revenue is going down. It's a difficult and sticky wicket. And typically, what we've done, very honestly, we fought the unemployment situation as much as we possibly could. Now, knock on wood, and very thankfully, not only have we kept every single one of our people on payroll and actually hired more people during this tragedy. But we're gonna, Ramesh and I have talked about this, and so we've decided if, God forbid, we were to have to lay some people off or do some things of that nature, we have to think differently. We have to be fair. We have to allow people to eat, and so we wouldn't fight them. And that's a decision that's personal for us. Especially, I mean, again, if you're somebody who's just milking the clock, not doing anything and not providing benefit, well then get out of here.
Right.
We have no patience for that. But if business were to change for us and we can't afford to do things for you, then we would do our part. We would pay that unemployment and not fight it if there was some kind of change in our business structure. So again, it's a sticky wicket, but that's kind of how we handle that. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people right now, especially even my family members, just to be quite honest, they have been let go, and once this comes in the up and up, they will be hired back. Hopefully, if everything goes, as we hope everything goes. But now let's kind of switch it over to the employee side. That might be a little difficult for you, but you are good at changing your hats. Put it backwards. I'm just kidding. But I'm sure you know a few of employees on the employee side. I do as well. But what are some challenges that they may be facing right now? Being laid off and cannot work from home. There's no option.
It's scary. It's very scary and unnerving. And I know when I talk to our staff, although they kind of don't believe it half the time with regards to the fact that, hey guys, you're okay. Just keep working, keep doing your thing, take care of business, and we're good. But I'd be nervous if I'm an employee out there. I'm always going to look and see what potential options are out there and available for you. And kind of, okay, what options is this an opportunity for me to think about things differently? Maybe this is the time for me to start my own thing. There are some online opportunities out there, some things that you can try and do on the side while you're trying to make ends meet, So again, it just depends on where you are and what your circumstances are. But look, there's opportunities. The thing I want to impress to employees and employers, there's opportunities out there. It might take you a week, a month, 2 months to find them, but keep searching. Stay with it. Keep paying your bills, even if that means, working for McDonald's delivery service for a while things are going on. But there's opportunities. Keep the faith, keep fighting, keep searching. And those people that search the most, that are the most dedicated to being successful, the cream always rises to the top. Okay, you'll see most of the time it's always those people. Oh, this sucks, and this is awful. This is terrible. Gimme, but they're not out there looking and working and trying to change their circumstances. Well, stop complaining if you haven't done anything to fix your situation.
Right.
You got to do more if you expect more. That's how the world works.
And you know what? I will say a lot of people right now are getting very creative, extremely creative. Social media has been a huge platform right now. There's a lot of people, if you are a gym entrepreneur, they're putting out videos, they're helping people out. They are sewing at home, they're reading. Knowledge is key. Now's maybe the time of, if you're not an entrepreneur and you thought about it, starting your own business, but doing the research properly, because right now you have all the time in the world.
Look, that's exactly correct. One of the things that we're going to do, and you guys can kind of mark your clocks on this, we're opening a social media marketing company. And one of the reasons why we're doing that is because right now, as you see, people cannot work. People are sitting at home. So people are, guess what? They're on social media. They're get on Instagram and Facebook and all the other modes that are out there. So we have decided, okay, let's put together a social media marketing company to take advantage of the fact that people are out there and figure out how to drive people to our sites for our information so that we can set them in the right situation and, quite frankly, make a little bit of money in that process. And just like we're doing that and creating that, you guys at home can say, okay, what opportunities are out there that I'm seeing? What's going to happen next that I can take advantage of? Try and stay ahead of the curve.
Right. Whether you're near or afar, you could definitely do that. And I will say right now, there's a lot of colleges, there's a lot of sites that are offering free learning courses as well. So you can get your education up there. If you've always wanted to know a little bit more of a business class, they're offering it and it's free at your fingertips. They're getting creative, but at the same token, maybe utilizing your time and getting creative and kind of coming back with the center you. We kind of get a little distracted with the noise in our day-to-day world. This is a way that the noise is kind of calmed down and you can kind of come back to center and say, okay, this is what my path is going to look like here in the next few months, if not years.
Right. Let me add to that, Marty, because I guarantee you, and you think about this, all you guys sitting at home right now, listening to this show, what did you do for the last few days? My guess is you're watching a lot of television, you're on Netflix, you're on Amazon, you're on Instagram, playing around, doing this, doodling around. What are you doing to educate yourself? What are you doing to learn more? What are you doing to take advantage of this free information that's out there? I know very little about a social media marketing company. I know very little when I started this process. But I know there's an opportunity out there. So I'm taking the opportunity. I'm taking this opportunity now to educate myself, to learn, to figure it out. Because I know there's something out there that we are absolutely going to take advantage of, Marty.
Yeah, I would say that's a double-edged sword. So what are you doing right now to learn? And also, what are you doing out there to teach?
Yes.
Because there may be some knowledge you have that the next person doesn't. And there may be kind of like this platform here. I know we're going to kind of give a little bit of sources of help for those that just may not know and haven't done the research and maybe just feel lost right now. They may just feel, stressed and lost and they just don't even know where to go. So we are going to be here to teach, to help any which way that we can, and just to be a good support.
Right.
But for those businesses and or employees and or entrepreneurs, where is light at the end of the tunnel?
Where is the light at the end of the tunnel?
Is picking up the pieces and starting over going to be an easy process?
It's not going to be easy. And look, I'm sorry. Who cares? It doesn't matter if it's going to be easy or not, Marty. It's either you're going to take care of it or it's going to be taken care of for you. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sorry. I'm one of those individuals who likes to prepare for the type of outcome that I'm expecting, which means I need to figure out what's going to come next after this COVID situation has taken care of itself. Because the curve's going to get flattened. Things are going to get better. People are going to get back to work, okay? And when that happens, how am I going to position myself and my business to take advantage of those different opportunities that are out there, okay? I have a plan, and all you guys out there should be thinking about what are you going to do 2 months from now, 6 months from now, the rest of next year. Start planning and preparing for these things now.
Yeah, I agree. We don't know what's going to happen. And, when all this curve gets flattened and everything goes back to normal, what are the businesses going to look like? What are the streets going to look like? Are people going to just go back to normal? Are people going to be suffering? I feel like we're going to have a good blend of everything. Everything has been shut down, stores, malls, parks, etc. So when you get everything taken away, when it comes back, you almost like rush because you just haven't had it. So we don't know what that's going to look like. Exactly. I'm kind of curious. Are our sales going to be up and super high the day after Thanksgiving? Right. Or is it not going to be like that? It's right now, no one really knows what's going to happen. And for those of you guys that are watching and you guys know how we can help others, if you guys are a person that is offering assistance, have received assistance, and you want to share that knowledge, please load it in the comment section. But I will turn it over to Darren. Do you know of any assistance programs that can help either entrepreneurs, employees, or anyone that's suffering that has been in these shoes?
Yeah, and I'm going to mention a couple things that we should talk about. But before I do that, I want to specifically answer your prior question with regards to zero light at the end of the tunnel. There absolutely is, okay? Mm-hmm. We're going to get out of this. Again, even if you look and see the stock market today, it's been tanking, of course, throughout this whole process. And even today, it's starting to recover. The numbers are starting to get, there's a bounce with regards to the stock market and stocks. Okay, things are getting better. The government's injecting money into the economy, trillions of dollars. Okay, they've also are now approving more money because it's going to take a little bit of the injection of more money to get things really going. And that's kind of what we're talking about. As entrepreneurs, as a business owner, I would certainly suggest looking at the SBA.gov website. When you look at that website, there are resources there that are available to you. One program in particular that I think is very important is the Paycheck Protection Program. That's going to allow for many businesses to get, I'm not going to say immediate checks and money, but they have an IDLE program to provide companies like $10,000 advance. And the way that they have it structured right now, and again, it kind of changes somewhat on a daily basis, but you can get $10,000 worth of emergency money to kind of seed your business, pay some rent, pay some bills, things of that nature, once you fill out that application in a fairly short period of time. We just filled out our application a few days ago, and we're in queue, and it should be coming to help us soon. That's one of the many different programs. There are some economic stimulus programs out there that are also available. And again, we're not talking about just for the owners. For the employees, we got to talk about them a little bit. Not so great. I know there's been talk about the economic stimulus package that the government has, basically allowing the people who filed a tax return over the last 2018, 2019, they're going to be eligible for a $1,200 check from the government. Again, there are some limitations on that. And I think most people are going to get that money fairly quickly. Some people are going to get held up, but again, look, we're a society of 300+ million people.
Right.
So you got to kind of be patient and wait for these things to come through the process.
Right.
So there are programs out there that are able to help people, and there's other things too that people can take advantage of.
Definitely look at the qualification factors. I know, like for instance, certain apartments are also offering some emergency relief for those that just can't pay rent because they don't have the means. There is applications that you can go, and there is money set aside for these emergencies for those that cannot or don't have any means. Now, I will strongly suggest to allow for those that really need it. And not abuse the power of taking if you really don't need it, because there are some people out there that really do truly need it right now.
Absolutely. The need is everywhere. It's everywhere, and guys, that's absolutely true. Don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. Get what you need, not just what you want. And another thing too, just for guys, for you guys just to consider. I know rents are due and things of that nature for your businesses, for your homes, your apartments, things of that nature. Well, the landlord is kind of in a very difficult position right now.
Right.
Because quite frankly, Marty, if I'm your landlord and you come to me and you tell me, hey, Marty, or you come and say, hey, Darren, can I get some help? Can you extend? I haven't been paid for a while. Can you extend my rent? And what are they going to tell you? I mean, quite frankly, they can tell you no and, go fly a kite. But when they go down to the courthouse in front of the judge and the judge says, you're really going to kick this person out with everything that's going on, I just think there's going to be a lot more lax, or there's an ability, even if you have someone that you're working with that's being somewhat difficult, they're going to have to work with you to some degree. They're going to have to, because it's going to be very difficult for the judge to start kicking hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people out of their homes, out of their businesses. And that's going to create even more instability in the economy. So they're kind of in a position where they have to work with you under those conditions.
Yeah, and if that happens to some of you guys or any of our viewers, do you have attorneys that you know that could help on those legal matters?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, again, while of course we're, God has blessed us with, we're a personal injury business. of course. But look, we can point you in the right direction. If you got questions and you're dealing with those issues, we've got 7 attorneys here. We're glad to make a phone call, prepare a letter for you, free of charge, to assist in kind of making some of those things happen if you're having some of those problems.
Yeah, and that's awesome. That service that you're offering is super coming from a humble heart. So I think that's awesome that you offered that as well. Now I know some of you guys have loans, vehicle loans, credit card loans. Calling whoever has that loan and asking for a deferment. They can also do that. Ask about interest rates, because I don't think interest rates is deferred. That will just be tacked on. But you do have options. There are companies that are willing to work with you guys on these situations, and they're very, very understanding. So we're kind of coming closer to the end of the show, but we still have a couple of questions for you, Darren. But
sure.
Do you have any words of wisdom for those that are going through a very hard time, whether it's the employers or it's the employee side?
Look, Tupac said it best. Keep your head up. You got to keep fighting, keep swimming, keep this thing going. It's going to work out. There's going to be bumps. There's going to be bruises. Things are not going to go exactly where you want them to go. But just keep fighting. Stay with it. Get help. Pray. And things will get better. So stay with it, guys. We're going to get through this. We work with each other. We assist each other. We're going to get through this process. And if I can answer some of your questions or provide different assistance, feel free to get in touch with me. I'm glad to help any way I can. I'm sitting at home like you guys, so I've got more time on my hands than I really know what to do with. So please assist me as much as you use my help or any other resource as much as you need to.
Nice. So here's a tough question now.
Yes.
This is based upon your opinion.
Okay.
No one really has the answer for this, but how long? How long will it be until things get back to normal? In your opinion, let's just be honest,
Thank
because
you.
you don't really have an answer.
Look, guys. I watch the financials and kind of see what's going on with regards to what the government is suggesting, and what our medical professionals are suggesting also. And while people are suggesting the end of the month, I just don't think that is realistic for us. I think we're looking at a much longer process that is going to, I think, for us, drag into the summer before we really start to see any real signs of substantial recovery. In terms of kind of getting back on track to where we need to be, I think it's going to be probably 6 months. 6 months. Now, again, I'm not saying we're all going to be sitting at home for the next
Right.
6 months and that our favorite restaurants will be closed for that length of time. That is not going to happen. But if we're talking about healthy and substantive relief to these particular problems and for us to get back on financial track, it's going to take closer to the end of the year for substantial recovery, at least in my opinion, to occur.
And that's great that you kind of say that, because it makes sense. When someone hits rock bottom and it's the end or it's over, you don't really necessarily rise that quickly. It does take more months to get the business up back and running, or you individually or your family or whatever you're experiencing. So I could see the 6 month time period in regards to the down and the back up to get back to normal. It's very difficult during these times, but yeah, that's just, again, a good opinion that you definitely have on when this could be getting back to semi-normal. Now, I will say, for those of you guys out there experiencing either a graduation of high school, of college, that you're just thinking you're not going to be able to walk the stage, your time will come. I'm pretty sure they're going to make it special whenever that time comes. For those of you teachers and students you're just like, what's happening? Everything will be figured out, and there will be light at the end of the tunnel on those things.
Yeah, look, guys, look, this sucks. Okay, I'm sorry. I know that's not the politically correct thing for me to say, but this sucks. But again, guys, you got to take advantage of certain things also when things happen like this. For example, one of the things we're doing here at the firm is there are certain things that we've needed to do with regards to make changes in our software, upgrading our computer equipment, also doing some taking care of some construction issues throughout our office space. So with everybody out of the office, this is the time for us to upgrade. Okay,
Right.
We're upgrading, we're changing, we're moving forward. And again, what are we doing? We're preparing for when COVID is over. Because one thing we know for sure is COVID is going to be over. It's going to be over, it's going to be done. And the benefit that we are taking advantage of now is that when it is over and when we determine that things are good and safe for us to work, when my team gets back here, we're going to be ready to hit the ground running.
Absolutely.
With better information, better equipment, better software, so we'll be that much further ahead from everybody else that is just kind of shutting down, leaving, and then coming back to start in the same place. Well,
Right.
to me, that is not thinking ahead. That is just dealing with the circumstances that are sitting right in front of you. You're not preparing for the future, and that's a mistake that many entrepreneurs make, is that they're still not taking the opportunities and taking the time to prepare for the future.
That's good words of advice as well. I know there's a lot of passion in your voice, because I know this is not the first year of you being an entrepreneur. You've done this for how many years now?
20 years. 21 years now.
21 years. I mean, that's a
21.
long time. I'm sure you've been through natural disasters, especially being here in Houston. You've been through a lot to where you can say with a firm heart saying to plan ahead.
Plan ahead, prepare. Look, bad stuff is going to happen, okay? Look, guys, you can't have all good without having some bad, okay? And so you have to prepare and be ready for that 5 or 10% bad, for the 90% good that God typically creates in many people's lives. So that's the way in which I approach things: optimistic, preparing, getting ready. And you should probably take the same outlook in your own lives also.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, something that you and your firm is doing is we always do something called heroic behavior.
Yes.
Okay, and this month is going to be very special. We did have a winner last month, but this month is special because we really sat down and thought of how can we help our community in this time of COVID-19. So what you are doing is we're giving out a $75 gift certificate for essentials. That's for groceries, for you guys to be able to get food for your family. I know that for some, $75 could go a long way, and that could also be something that you don't necessarily have that easy right now. So we are inviting you guys to do this heroic behavior. It's over there next to Attorney Darren Miller. All you have to do is like our page, like our picture that you see over there. It's on your side, the other side. Like that picture. Make sure you share it on your Facebook page, and make sure you tag someone as well that is in need of essential supplies as well, which should be a lot of people right now.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone needs essential stuff. They need normal toiletries and stuff like that, food, masks, gloves. You could get that from, in Texas, we have HEB, but if you're in another state, we will figure out what is your local grocery store so that we could give you that gift certificate.
Correct.
Yeah, and guess what? It's free of charge.
Yes, absolutely. Look, again, we're going to help you guys out. Let's keep it going. We try to normalize the situation as much as we can. We're not going to stop heroic behavior. We're going to help our communities, both locally, both statewide, both nationally. So let's keep it going. And you pass that love on to your families too.
Yeah, and I think that's something you mentioned earlier, probably doing something for our medical providers and our healthcare providers and those that are in the hospitals right now. Really just devoting 24, 48, 72 hours of their life right now. They're just kind of working nonstop.
Yeah.
But we're also going to be we're tabling some, charities that we're going to also do for this year and try to help out. It's going to be a little bit difficult. We can't have any hands-on, so we'll have to get creative on how to do it virtually.
Yep. But one thing I know about our marketing team with Giselle and yourself and the rest, you guys are ultra creative.
Absolutely. If you guys, and kind of speaking of the creativity side, if you guys have a chance, go on our Facebook page, go on our YouTube page, go on our Instagram page. There's a lot of videos, there's a lot of interaction from this guy right here and the partner, Ramesh Guthaman, too. So it's always fun to see their personality away from the office.
Yes, I love it. Being creative with our videos. Yeah, let us know what you think about some of those videos, guys. I'd love to hear them, get some feedback.
Yeah, so if you want to leave our guests with one more last thing, or any words of wisdom, or any good quotes, or something positive and uplifting in the situation, what would you want to leave our viewers and our friends that are watching right now that are probably going through some hard times and that are probably at a really low state of mind?
Guys, it's tough all over. It is tough all over, and people are suffering and dying all over. Again, I've said this a few times, but we're going to get through this. So stay healthy, keep exercising, keep making sure you're keeping a safe distance. You're keeping your hands clean, keeping your gloves on, keeping your family safe. But we're going to get through this, okay? So just keep it going, keep it moving. And if there's anything I can help you guys with, Ramesh and my partner, if anything we can help you with, let us know, and we'll be there to assist any way that we can.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Keeping a very healthy immune system is very important. Staying healthy, eating healthy, not a lot of junk. All of this helps your immune system to kind of fight if there's anything around you, any potential coughs or whatever, your body can fight it a lot faster. But definitely send us any messages on our direct message on any of our Instagram, social media platforms, and we'll be able to assist you any which way we can. So I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in to Talk to Me Tuesday. I want to thank you guys for sharing it and liking the show. From your host, Madi V. Until next time.
Bye.